Hello, my name is Tony. Welcome back to the second video on the series of the A Plus certification. The first objective of the 1001 test is mobile devices. At first, I thought it was cellular phones, so I started reading about that. But it's actually referring to the laptop, which I guess in the book I referenced for the video is considered a mobile device, which it is. I mean, it's mobile. You can take it anywhere you want, anywhere you want, right? Duh. So like I mentioned in the first video, laptops have various parts that can be replaced, including keyboards. Personally, I have never replaced a keyboard. I have, but I'm sure it's a breeze. Like I also mentioned in the first video, by now you should have gotten your hands on some type of computer, whether laptop or desktop, to better acquaint yourself with what repairing these parts is like. The only way to really appreciate the keyboard replaces, especially on a laptop, because you could even buy a mini laptop, they'll be cheaper, of course, which this section does mention mini laptops because there is mini laptops out there, which you do need to know the difference for the test 1.8 versus 2.5. Obviously, the smaller laptops get 1.8, and a regular size laptop gets a 2.5 inch hard disk. If you're old like me, you probably started with magnetic disk. Solid state drive was not around unless it was on certain type of components, not computers though. So again, if you haven't gotten yourself a computer, go ahead and do so. You won't regret it. Let's see here. Okay, so here are the subjects. I thought I would be able to make a video really fast on all these parts, which if you go through it, some of them are shorter than others, like memory. You have to really pay attention to the memory. The other ones, video cards, you have to pay attention to that. That's really important. The system board and the CPU, those are all really important because you can go back a long time. Because, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned it in the first video, um, a system board, or the system board and the CPU. When you're out in the field, sometimes you'll be troubleshooting old equipment. That just like the motto goes, if it ain't broke, don't you ain't fix it. So it stays out there like that. But anyways, this video will show you what it looks like to replace a keyboard, what a motherboard looks like from a laptop, a few hard drive pictures. I do go into solid state versus hybrid versus magnetic disk, 1.8 versus 2.5, and I may even briefly talk about memory, but I don't think I got that far. So let's get started. All right. So here I have these are motherboards. If you remember from the previous video, I showed you motherboard and so on and so on. This is what a motherboard looks like on a laptop. See, I'm showing you two different ones because all manufacturers do them different. On this one, you might have the heat. You can see the PCI. Here, this may be where, like, I really can't tell you what that is, but here are the ports. Here, same thing for this one. Right here is where the memory module. Oh, these might be, I'm sorry, the not PCI. The memory modules, where the memory modules go. Again, for this one here too, the memory modules. The Cmos battery on this one you could see, and on this one too. This will be a part of a video, and it's important to know that sometimes if a computer won't boot up, that will be the issue. Why? Because of this little battery here, which is keep track of time at least, at all times, uh, which will also be part of a future video. All right, so since the guide mentions keyboards, I went ahead and added these pictures, and I'm gonna talk real quick about this. Okay, so this picture right here shows you the keyboard, right? So this is the front of the keyboard, this is the back of the keyboard. On laptops, it's different than a regular computer because a regular computer is just a keyboard and then it has a USB cable nowadays. And you do need to remember for the test PS2 What is the other one? Yeah, PS2 for keyboards. They might be on the test. It probably isn't on the test anymore, but it might be. Nowadays, it's mostly all USB, even for keyboards and mouse. But back in the days, it used to be purple or green for keyboard and mouse, which I can't remember. But anyways, just remember that a keyboard on a laptop might have a film. It looks like film, like the old kind of film, if you're old enough to remember. But film used to come on plastic sheets like this, plastic flaps, I guess I should say. But anyways, uh, yeah, plastic or I'm sorry, these are electronic nowadays. And this picture right here is showing you this is important here. This is important for your field work. It's probably not important for the test, but it might be on the test. They don't ask you like if you're taking apart a computer, what do you need to remember? They don't ask you that. But remember on the first video, I did show you 6 steps of troubleshooting. That will be on the test. That according to the test, those are the 6 steps you take um, to troubleshoot or to go through the process of troubleshooting stuff out in the field, whether it be in support on the phone or whether it be on the field with no support. Because sometimes field jobs will have support or they won't have support. Well, anyways, just pretend that this flap here is this. This might be going to the camera. I'm not sure because I didn't make this video or I didn't take this photo. But when you get yourself a PC or let's say your computer laptop, let's say you get somebody that wants to, you're like, oh, I'll fix your computer, and you end up having a keyboard issue or even a monitor issue. Like I told you on my fixing a broken screen. I wish I would have done a video on replacing the iPad I had, but I couldn't. I didn't make a video. It was kind of frustrating because I had to take out the heat gun for an iPad just to let you know. On an iPad, you're gonna need a heat gun to take apart iPads, and it's really, really inconvenient, but it's worth it if you're into that kind of stuff like me. But anyways, they show this flap here. It's very important. Like I said, get yourself a repair kit, and if you get a phone repair kit, a monitor repair kit, a keyboard. I don't know because like I said, I've never replaced a keyboard. But you will get one of these plastic sticks. It's not to stab anything, it's to lift this up. You also will get like an aluminum flat one. You get all kinds of little tools, and it's very convenient for this kind of work. So if you see this little flap, don't underestimate it. You will break it. It will break. I'm telling you from experience, of course. If you just start yanking on this and you start pulling it apart, it will break and you will damage parts. So just be careful. This other picture here is showing you the top of a laptop being uh, disassembled and the keyboard coming off. I'm not sure if it's this easy because, like I said, I've never replaced a keyboard, so I don't know. But I know by the picture that it has and from experience that this part right here is this right here, and you do have to be careful with these plastic strips because are very easy to break further than what already regular wear and tear does to them, the heat inside of them. All right, so now on to the hard drives. Um, Mechanical, hybrid, and solid state. If you're old enough like me, you started with mechanical hard drives. There was no hybrid, there was no solid state. The cool thing about mechanicals is they're platter drivers, they're long lasting, and believe it or not, they're still in use today. Like they say out in the field, if it aren't broke, don't fix it. So a lot of companies are slow to replace them. Um, let's look at the next slide real quick. Okay, I just go further in depth or further into it. All right, so it's platter driven, long lasting, hybrid. Its goal is to increase access speeds for commonly accessed data while still providing a larger capacity, similar to a conventional hard drive. So it's pretty cool. I've never had a hybrid because I don't see the point in unless the price is like mechanical is the cheapest right now and solid is the most expensive. So if you want something in the middle, you're pretty cheap. um, prices for solid state drives. To the one I have Samsung. I've never had Kingston, but I have my Samsung. I have, and I'm planning to get another one real quick. So again, solid state drives are quickly being replaced by M.2 hard drives. So watch out. I do have a picture of a M.2 in here, so don't worry. I'm gonna show you what that is. Mechanical hard drive, 8 terabytes, Skyhawk, Seagate. This is huge, 8 terabytes, man. But the thing about it, yes, they are extremely slow. And the thing with mechanical hard drives, once they start getting filled up, the difference between mechanical and solid state is mechanical. Once they start getting filled up, they start getting slower, and you have to defrag unless you like run a defrag every week, which I suggest you do, or even every day. That will help you to maintain the hard drive. The thing about mechanicals, they have to be maintained after. So I'm gonna read you kind of straight from the book, just so you can get an objective. Because I'm not gonna get real technical unless I read from the book. Because a lot of my experience is from experience and from building my own computer. So that's what I'm telling you again. Build your own computer. Don't even if it's a cheap one, just do it. You'll learn something. All right, magnetic hard drives. A traditional hard disk drive is composed of individual disks or platters with read-write heads on actuator arms controlled by a servo motor, all contained in a sealed case that prevents contamination by outside air. Spindle or rotational speeds. Run hard drives at a spindle speed with the spinning platters measured in revolutions per minute. Older drives ran at speed of 3600 RPM, and drives are sold with speeds up to 15,000 RPMs. This is important. The most thing you'll find out there is like this. Like this says 5400 and 7200. My other hard drive where I keep all my stuff that I don't need to be extremely fast or that I don't need access to real fast, but has long loading times is 7200 RPM, which I took from a laptop. And I put it in my desktop, which is, it's better than nothing. So let's see here. Now, the thing about it, what I think is that the 15,000 RPMs run in servers, because a lot of servers, they'll make them with like 12, let's say it has 12 bays, and like you can replace these hard drives, but they'll use sometimes a smaller hard drive instead of these. It just depends, right? They're all made different. So you don't know whether, but you could tell. It'll say in any book that you read, well, not any book, but the book I read says that they're noisier. They get hotter and may cause, it even says run 3600 older to 15,000. Higher speeds may cause overheating. Higher RPM may also decrease life expectancy. But thankfully, if you put fans in between the hard drives, which a lot of cases that come, um, a lot of cases that come with the computers nowadays, you can put fans, and there's all kinds of. Remember in the last video I showed you how it was all lighted up. Well, you don't have to get like that, but if you have a fan, that will definitely help the 15,000 RPM is not necessarily better. Like I said, it's hotter. It decreases life expectancy, so just be aware of that. And I think it's mostly only used for servers, but I didn't confirm that, so. And from the book again, faster drives generally equate to better performance, but they also generate more noise and heat. Excess heat cuts the life of hard drives dramatically. A rise of just 5 degrees Celsius may reduce the life expectancy of a hard drive by as much as 2 years. So even if replacing an old pair of 5400 RPM drives with a shiny new pair of 15,000 RPM drives doesn't generate enough heat to crash the entire system, it may severely put your storage investment at risk of a short life cycle. You can deal with the warmth of these fast drives by adding dry fans between them. Technicians need to be aware of the dangers when adding a new hard drive to an older system. Get into the habit of tying off non-aerodynamic cables. Adding Excuse me. Sorry about that. Ah, just 1 second to silence this thing. Okay. All right. So where were we? Getting to the habit of tying non-aerodynamic cables, adding front fans to cases when systems lock up intermittently, and making sure any fans run well. Finally, if a client wants a new driver system and a tiny mini tower with only the power supply fan to cool it off, be gentle, but definitely steer the client to one of the slower drives. Okay, here's an exam tip, straight from the book. Although you can still buy M-SATA cards as this book is being taken to print, the technology is definitely on its way out for both laptop and desktop computers replaced by M.2. The latter standard is half the physical size and offers substantially better performance. The M.2 form factor is incorrectly referred to as M2 with no dot in the CompTIA exam, Objective 3.4. M.2 slots come in a variety, keyed for different sorts of mass storage uses. The keys have a letter associated. M.2 slots can be key B, key M, or key B plus M to support mass storage devices. Other slots are key A, key E, and are used in wireless networking devices. So that's real technical there. You can look into that more. It may be on the test because it's an exam tip. The specifics of the keys are beyond the current. Oh, I guess not. But M.2 looks like it's here to stay, so you need to be aware of the variations. SSD use non-volatile flash memory such as NAND that retains data when power is turned off or disconnection. Here's another important thing: sequential read and write performance. A common measure of storage device's top speed is its throughput, or the rates at which it can read and write long sequences of data. We usually measure sequential read and sequential write throughput in megabytes per second. Random read-write performance, because real-world drives rarely get to read and write huge files all day. So this is where I talk. Sometimes I'll talk about the difference between your regular laptop, your regular computer, and a real server. Real servers are used differently. Like when I mean real servers, I mean like think about Facebook servers or Amazon servers, eBay servers, even like retail stores like Ant or yeah, what is it? Best Buy, what else? Safeway, Walmart, Target, those use real servers, different, not your home server, even a web server. You can run a real powerful computer if it's just one, you're just running one application or a few applications at the most. So that's why there's a difference, and you'll notice when you start learning about all the different certifications. A plus is different than the server plus because now you're dealing with all the server stuff. So that's probably where you'll see the difference in hard drives and how things are measured. Because real world drives rarely get to read and write huge files all day, we also look at a drive's random read, random write, and mixed random performance. Another thing you need to important that you need to know about latency. It's also useful to look at a drive's response time, access time, or latency, which measures how quickly it responds to a single request. Latency is usually expressed in milliseconds or microseconds. Low latency storage is critical for high performance file and database servers. See, so you start talking about different things. There's a difference between your home computer, your laptop, and servers. Especially like I said, corporate world is different. You're gonna see different with if you've never been out in the field, you're gonna see way different machines that yes, you can use it as a computer, but it's meant to be used as a server. Yes, you can use it as a server, but it's meant to just be your, everyday laptop or everyday computer, unless you have a graphics card, then it's for gaming, and we'll get into that in a later video. These exam tips here, say that data is out in its way out, but it's important to know these speeds here for the test. I will put up a lot of these references to numbers that you need to know just because for the test you will, like, if installing a drive while the computer is on, I'm sorry, I got a mistake there. You must first make sure AHCI or the computer won't recognize the hard drive, especially if it's a version of Windows prior to Windows 7. That's important because the AHCI, you'll see it when a computer boots up. And something we haven't gone over yet is like the post and the computer, when you turn it on, it tests itself. Make sure it has a laptop, a mouse, a screen, memory, hard drive before it actually turns on because it can't function properly without all those things. And HCI is enabled in the BIOS, which BIOS stands for Basic Input Output System, which is a part of the in another section. But usually, while the computer completes a self check, power on, self test, or post, you must press F12 or Del to enter to make changes. BIOS is a basic instruction set that runs the motherboard before loading whatever operating system you're running. I'm jumping around here, but this is just the more you know, the better it is for you. And here's a motherboard here. They don't get ready to see this. This is a PC, this is power, and this is a PC board. For this monitor, it was monitor, so I don't know what all of these are for. It might be for some kind of switching because they're being ran in parallel. But once you get your A plus, you will run into that in the field. All right. So let me finish what I was reading from. For context, traditional hard drives often have latencies under 20 milliseconds, whereas SSDs commonly clock in well under 1 millisecond. So that's a huge difference, man. If you grew up with mechanical hard drives like me, and you go over to SATA, or to solid state drive, you'll see a huge difference. A lot of factors determine which combination of performance and price uh, makes sense for a specific situation. In the description, I have placed a link to the video where I take apart a laptop to replace the screen, and you can also Google hard drive replacement on laptops to learn these aspects of the exam further. The majority of new laptops come with SATA hard drives, Magneto base, but you will also see many laptops with solid state drives in the field. The bulk of the hard drives in laptops are, this is important, this is where the difference is. 2.5 inches wide. The small form factor, if you have a mini laptop, is an ultra small laptop, and other portable devices might use a hard disk as small as 1.8 inches. For the test, know that laptop hard drives include magnetic disk, SSD, and hybrid. Also be aware that they're either 2.5 and 1.8 inch form factor. So I told you that for the in the beginning of this video. So here it is, something from the field. Um, it's a TV or essentially computers. They run pretty much like computers. Just pretend it was a very, very, very minimum best part of the computer being the graphics card, because it needs real good graphics, 1080, but it doesn't. And some TVs are also even made for gaming nowadays. My TV at home is actually has a special feature where it kind of makes it just brighter. But it's all up to taste. So here's another one of those strips from the beginning of the video to show you just how things are made. And here it seems like the flat is up, and it's I took off the flat maybe, or maybe it's going under. I don't know. I don't remember. This was a long time ago. So out in the field, you will have to replace some of these depending on the kind of work you do. Again, some people end up doing one thing, or you can end up doing another one, and then it'll have its own power board. So just to let you know, here is SATA. This is what SATA looks like. If you're old like me, you probably started with this. Here is the other side of a hard drive, which goes to this, the SATA. Here's eSATA. I never got to use eSATA. It's like SATA, but just external. I'm pretty sure that's what the E stands for. Here is a motherboard, and this is where this end connects to here. And it has a power one, but even the power changed. It used to be Molex, and I don't even know if that's on the test anymore. But it was part of the test way back then. And here again is a this is what keeps your motherboard. It keeps it on with power even after you turn it on. And it's mostly just so that the board knows the time. The time. Okay, so here we go. I wanted to show you this because it's important. NVM. This is the future here. I don't know how long it's going to be the future because, like I read earlier, the M2 and the M or the N what was it? The M SATA. It's on its way out. So this is it. This is the future here, but it's still roughly very expensive. This is a PCIe here, and this is how it's put on there. It's a good picture. This is what it looks. But the thing is, I don't. Oh, this is 500 gigs. It says at the bare minimum for me personally, I need to have at least a 2 terabyte hard drive. Just for me personally, just because I feel that's what I need. But I don't know. Hell, man, I think that a 2 terabyte hard drive is probably gonna run you right now, probably 3 to 5, even more, $300 to $500. So if you can afford that, more power to you. But me, I'm not wasting my time for 500 gigs because that's barely enough to cover the operating system and just your files. If it was like 2 terabytes for the prices right now that I see out there, I would totally be down for this, but that's just me. The best part of NVMe, non-volatile memory express, is that it takes full advantage of the PCIe bus. The NVMe is superbly faster but does not cost a lot more than traditional solid state drive and M.2. Oh, NVMe, I mean. The beauty of eSATA is that somewhat faster than USB. And I just took eSATA because I did a little bit of research on it because, like I said, I had never used it. But it's external SATA, which is faster than USB and extends the length of a connection outside. So, this is if you have to run an external hard drive or something, to put files on if you want to go that route. Personally, I go the NAS route, which is a network attached storage, which we will go over that in another video. And it's faster, but the length you can put it like maybe 2 rooms down as opposed to it having to be right next to your computer for optimal speeds. Okay, so here's a picture of the hard disk drive, and here is the M.2, which is I'm sure it's part of the test, but you might get a question on this, so make sure you read up, and you definitely will get a question on a solid state drive and a hard disk drive, just because, like I said, out in the field, things move slower, so this is probably still very prevalent in the field, and this is prevalent at home for home setups. So you need to learn both. And this, like I said, it is the future, but pricing, it was keeping it out of the hands of mere mortals, I guess you can say. So here it is, NAND memory chips on both sides of a logic board. Bottom cover, top cover, real simple. Interface connectors, so power and data. That's something you need to know for the hard drives. Even old hard drives have a power and a SATA. So Magneto Platters, this is the spindle that I read about earlier, the actuator arm with read write with controller circuits and cache memory, chassis frame, and the actuator. And the cover. So look at the difference, study the difference between it. You don't have to, it's real simple, I guess. You don't really have to much to learn other than the NAND and just the inner workings. This is actually the older, the mechanical ones. It's probably a little harder to memorize things just because it has more working parts to it. And here's a tip for the field. This, you can destroy it. According to the test back in the days and even today, if you need to destroy these hard drives, you drill a hole through these platters that will make them unusable. Or you shred them to really make them unusable. Which is it's real hard to shred one of these unless you have access to this. But running over, hit it with a bat, that won't help. Drilling holes through it will help, but you need a diamond tip drill bit, and you need to make sure you make at least 3 to make it. I did a job where I was decommissioning older ATMs, and they were replacing the hard drives, and that's what I had to do, and that was from a corporate company. Drill holes right through it. The NAND technology here is super awesome, and because this is newer on the test, and this will be phased out eventually, I guess. Maybe not though, because like I said, out in the field, it's very slow. It's going to be very slow. Time, it will take time for everything to be solid state drive because the I guess the golden days of computing was, I don't even know if it's considered the golden days, but like when computers became real prevalent in everything from homes to businesses, this was what was it. So everything has this, and it's just really pricey to go to this, and even more pricey to go to this. Like I said, for 500 gigs, that probably you'll probably could buy three of these or five of or 10 of these. So it's all just a matter of taste and I guess how deep your pocket is. Okay, so that's it for this video. I will go further into the comments, emails. You can go to my website, alfaro.tech, to send me suggestions on what do you want me to talk about so I can go deeper into it. Right now, I'm just going by the objectives and my field experience. So just to kind of just introduce you to it, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, just going by the objectives and doing my research, and from there, because there's so much to talk about, so I can't cover every single aspect without making like a 3 hour video or making it really long and dry. And even reading from the book doesn't do any doesn't do enough to teach you everything. So you have to take it on your own to read and get out there and, like I said, buy a laptop, buy a computer. So the next video will start with memory, and I might even still continue talking about hard drives for a moment. All right. So thank you once again. Send me comments to let me know what you want. What you want me to go into depth more, and I will make a new video in a few days. Thank you. Have a great day.